Hi, everyone. Welcome to Domain Sherpa. We've got a very special Domain Sherpa review today with the return of the one and only Michael Cyger. Mike joins Shane, Drew, and I on the show, and it's absolutely awesome to get him back in the mix. On that note, we all play the domain game with RealInnovation.com, Tradesman.com, and Encrypto.com. We also have a little side action related to Shane's recent re-entry into the Ethereum market, so we'll dive into that. And then we've got the NameJetgonnajet segment, sponsored by NameJet, and we talk about some domains coming up for auction, such as medicalcenter.com, thenextlevel.com, smartmeter.com, and careeradvice.org. We also hear about some of the exciting stuff coming up for DNAcademy now that it's officially under the GoDaddy umbrella. Also, Mike recently launched CygerSays.com as a newsletter providing insights on domain name investing, including buying low, selling high, and managing your portfolio more effectively and efficiently. So be sure to head to CygerSays.com, that's CygerSays.com, and sign up for that. And then we also hear about Drew's recent talk in London about domain names, crypto, and NFTs, and his thoughts on the future of digital assets. It's all amazing stuff, and you don't want to miss it. And remember, if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, you could also watch the video version at domainsherpa.com and on our YouTube channel at ds.tv. We now have all the past episodes there, so you can dig into the largest library of domain-related podcast content in the world for free. You can also check us out on Apple and Spotify and the other podcast platforms as well. And as usual, big shout out to Dan.com, the #1 place in the world to buy and sell your domains, with a special platform made just for domain investors. With that, settle in. It's a long episode, but it's totally worth it because it's now time to get into this episode of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. What's up, Sherpa Network? Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Jonathan Tenenbaum, a.k.a. JT, a.k.a. J-On, a.k.a. Sherpa Winfrey, and I am the host and producer of Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Today's show is a Domain Sherpa review, a very special Domain Sherpa review, where we get into the minds of successful domain investors using real examples so we can learn strategies and tactics to become more successful domain name investors ourselves. These are the experts, and today's crew is a special one. So I'm going to get to that, but first, there's 4 segments to a Domain Sherpa review. First, we've got the grand opening. That's where I intro the Sherpas, see what's going on with them. We talk about some related items. Then we get into the domain game, and that's where we hear about what the Sherpas recently bought or sold. Everybody guesses on what the buy or sell price was. We keep scoring, get some swag to the winner eventually. And then segment 3 is NameJetgonnajet, sponsored by our friends at NameJet. And that's where we review a list of domains coming up for auction. We talk about what the Sherpas like and what they don't like. And then last but certainly not least, if we still have time for anything we haven't covered, we've got grand closing. And that's where we talk about what's going on in the domain space, looking at the market, trends, current events, allowing our guests to talk about, mention, promote anything that they want that we have not already discussed. Usually by then we've covered a lot of ground. But yeah, with that, let's go ahead and introduce the Sherpas. I'm super excited today. I'm not going to go in my typical order on the screen because I've got the way that it's going. I'm going to go in reverse order because we got a super special guest making his return, his glorious return to the show. But wait, before we do that, let me talk about the guys we're on all the time, right? So below me, we got my boy Shane Culture, a.k.a. Sugar Shane, a.k.a. Honey Shane, a.k.a. Mike Rowe, a.k.a. Blame It on the Shane, a.k.a. House of Shane, a.k.a. the Cultivator, Blue Oyster Culture, the Culture Personality, a.k.a. the Culture Club, a.k.a. Doing It for the Culture, a.k.a. In Shane in the Membrane, a.k.a. Horticultura. I mean, at some point, I'm gonna have to cut some of them down, man. But you know,
it's an easy last name to roll with.
Shane is just too easy.
We pouring honey like it's Cristal up
One
in
at a
here.
time, I'm just gonna pour it all over my body, just with my shirt off.
It's like the difference.
It's gonna be that kind of party.
You can't really get him to. You can't really get his spray like hey, shout out to the Phillies going to the World Series, winning the National League pennant. But it's like in a locker room, you put the goggles on and spray yourself with honey. It's just barely.
Speaking of which, I just heard an interesting statistic that every single time they've ever won the World Series, a massive recession or depression ensued.
No,
every single time. Yes.
No,
because baseball and
without
economics
exception.
exactly.
without exception.
No, we can't. So let's reverse the curse then. Let's reverse the trend.
A total of 4, I believe. I believe there was a total of 4 times they won.
Well, yeah, they
every
won
single time.
Yeah, they won in 08.
A massive recession or
the
depression.
Cubs won the World Series. Every curse is broken. It doesn't matter.
No doubt. Well, they won in 08. They won in 83, 81, 80. I forget 80, I think. And
08 didn't go well.
And then sometime back in the 60s, maybe. But
yeah.
Well, all right. Well, then maybe not a shout out to them, but Bryce Harper's a beast, and that's my guy right there. So, all right. Well, Shane, what's good, man? Welcome to the show.
It's all good. I'm winding up the nursery season, so that means I get playtime. I got out of the snow business, like no plowing snow. So, man, I'm going to be sitting in the cabin in North Carolina for months, or Hawaii, just doing nothing.
You're out? You're done? No more snowplow?
No more snowplow. I'm a salt distributor now. I'm a picks and shovels.
Watch how much now your
it.
testosterone levels are going to start dropping.
No, I've been doing.
You were doing real man work, man.
I'll tell this story.
Putting you back into it.
I tore my meniscus in my knee, which, believe it or not, has healed like crazy. I cannot believe. But anyway, so I started going to the gym. I'm addicted. Like, I'm that guy now.
Yeah.
All right.
Hour and a half in the gym. Like, I just love it. I mean, I'm addicted.
What are you doing? What are you hitting there?
You mean I'm not very strong yet? That's the thing. I said
no. But what are you doing? What are you doing? Are you doing like just typical like?
Yeah,
he's doing about 22 minutes of exercise, and the rest of the time you're just walking around talking to people.
Exactly.
Selfies with the camera in the mirror.
Yo, bro, you mind spotting me just a second? I'm about to throw up 135. Hop on. No,
are you going to get into powerlifting?
No, not powerlifting. Just a lot of reps, and I'm just trying to like. It's amazing when you start from scratch in anything. Those are the best times. Like when you start running, you make the most gains when you lose weight.
Yeah.
So in the gym, my body just like transformed in 8 weeks. It's crazy how it transformed. And then my strength, I went home and started lifting for a couple of weeks because I was at the gym. I was so weak. I was embarrassed to lift in front of it. I was using the little machine, the 30-minute things, like the little purple ones.
They're like, no, so they're like, we only let the senior citizens. This is the circuit for them, sir. And you're like, I got to start somewhere. There's these.
And I'm like putting the magnetic pins, the little pins. I'm like, should I go up to 35? I'm gonna do it.
Well, hey, I think that's great.
Been so much fun.
But you bring up a good point too, though. It's like, you do see those gains, and that's why breaks and if you go no days off, I mean, it's great, but you've got to vary what you're doing and mixing it up and giving your body an opportunity to rest, especially as you get older. Then it gives you an opportunity to just kind of like then push it.
Just everything, the brain, the body, like we're all into this routine that we do the same thing every day. And sometimes it takes, like in my case, an injury to take me off running. I'm running 60, 80 miles a week, and I needed an injury to change it. I'll be a better runner when it comes over. Yeah. And then same with like, every day, not doing the same thing every day, mixing it up, getting more sleep, all those things you read about, that shit's true. Like it literally is true. You need your sleep to recover. You need to switch up routines to get better. You just need to do all that. And sometimes it's something major forcing you to do it. And that's what happened to me. And you thought I had energy before. You should see me now. Like, again, I'm driving my wife crazy.
That was like your post the other day. You're like, you dug a 12-foot hole to get to like some irrigation pipe. And just looking at that picture made me sore. Like, getting into cramped space, digging.
Jeez. And like it happens a day that nobody's there. It happens in a space I can't use any equipment, and the fucking pipe's 6 foot deep and I have to change it. Like, how do you cut something and put a new piece in when it's
when you have like this much space around
that
it
is
because
crazy.
It's like 12 feet deep.
I was
the
like
good news, though,
from my feet.
Yeah, the good news is in the process, you rescued about 10 Chilean miners. You know what I mean? So nice work, Shane.
I wish I had him to dig for me.
Just a little bit of help. Just need some help out here. All right, let's get on that note, let's keep it moving. All right, down to my lower right, we got my boy Andrew Rosner, a.k.a. Morpheus, a.k.a. the Dirk Diggler, Digital Assets, a.k.a. Bob Lee Swagger, the Sniper, a.k.a. Drew. Drew got what I need, a.k.a. every Rosner has its thorn, a.k.a. never gonna give Drew up, a.k.a. Graybeard, the Domain Pirate, a.k.a. Cancel Adams. What's up, man? What's happening?
Cancel Adams. That's a new one, I think.
All good. I'm
Like, all good.
Dude, the manscape on the chest is looking awesome today.
Yeah.
Open that up,
Like
man.
that?
Boom. What's up? Oh no, we're about to go
for
viral.
all
Like,
the viewers that are watching on YouTube.
they're like, you really spiked with the 45 to 65.
went from a PG
female
to R rating right there.
Who's the new
Someone's on
13-year-old
testosterone
Laotian boy on the
replacement
show?
therapy.
What?
Someone's
Who's
on
the
some
new 13-year-old
testosterone replacement therapy.
And I said, who's the new 13-year-old Laotian boy that's on the show?
Okay, Billy, just keep an eye on this one because this is, we're not trying to get canceled officially, but all good. You know what I mean? This is I'm glad you're all good. That's cool. But now look, this is what I want to get into. This is the stuff I'm excited about. We've got the return, the comeback. Don't call it a comeback.
Don't call it a comeback.
He's been here for years.
Call it a comeback.
All right, we got the return of the one and only Michael Cyger, aka the professor, or as they say in Money Heist, La Professor, aka the governor, aka Mike Check 1212, aka Cyger Space, aka dun. It's the eye of the Cyger. What's happening, man? Yeah,
Love
all right.
it, man.
For those of you, I mean, look, everybody knows, but I'll give you a little bit. I'll do an actual bio. I mean, hey, called the best educator in the domain name industry. He's been helping people learn about investing domains for over 15 years. The original founder and publisher of DomainSherpa, which was acquired by Drew 5-ish years ago. After that, Michael founded DNAcademy, the #1 training platform in the world, used and trusted by thousands of individuals and corporations, including GoDaddy, Cedo, Uniregistry. In fact, DNAcademy was acquired by GoDaddy, and it will be reopening as GoDaddy Domain Academy in December, right? So we'll talk about that in a second. As for Michael, post-acquisition, he's taken on the role of Director of Education at GoDaddy. He's a prior Lonnie Bork Memorial Award recipient, Domain Name Hall of Fame inductee, self-proclaimed governor of Bainbridge Island, as well as the founder and publisher of BainbridgeIsland.com, not to mention his degrees, plural, in nuclear engineering and his development and sale of I-Six Sigma. I mean, the man, the myth, the legend is back on the show that he created. What is up? Welcome back, dude.
Thanks. It's great to be here. I am so excited to have Drew and Shane and you and Billy in the background. It's like a reunion.
It's
so
man.
awesome.
It is.
Yeah, no, super, super cool. So
and,
how's it?
For the reunion, I busted out an OG mug right here that everybody can see. It's Domain Sherpa. I used to send these to people that would come on the show. It says I'm a Sherpa on one side, leading others to reach their peak. So, here
I actually never got one.
What?
Oh, I have a few. I have a few over here.
Even longer to get one than to receive the swag from MediaOptions.
Yeah.
Hey,
I think I actually have one left, so I will hand carry it to Vegas for you, Drew.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate that. I was I think most frequent guest on Domain Sherpa and never got a mug.
Here's to you guys for carrying the mantle and continuing to do an awesome job with Domain Sherpa.
Well, thank you, man. Look, you had set the foundation and, and as I mean, calling you the best educator in the domain space is it's really true across every level. The fact that you originally created
what does Jay-Z says? It's like saying I'm the shortest midget.
The tallest midget in the circus. But I don't think that's appropriate on any level. I think it's the tallest little person in the Barnum and Bailey event. I don't even know. I think everything about what that we said was wrong.
I'm just quoting Jay-Z. You know,
we can't have circuses either. So
yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. I don't even think
is the circus.
but nah, man. And the stuff that you did with DNAcademy, I think we talked about this when that deal went down where GoDaddy acquired it, and how it's such a fantastic fit, great for you, but even better for them, even better for their customer base, and just awesome stuff, man. I'm just so excited to have you back in the mix. And but so for DNAcademy, so it's GoDaddy Domain Academy in December. Yep. Is that the plan?
That's it. DNAcademy is going to sunset basically, and we're going to relaunch with GoDaddy Domain Academy. Mm-hmm. Everybody that is a Discount Domain Club member at either level is going to get access to the Domain Academy investing course that used to be DNAcademy. So that's great. It's an added benefit to anybody that's already paying for the for the low rates on over 450 TLDs at GoDaddy. And we're redoing all of the tools that were in DNAcademy, and we're supersizing them, making them resilient and scalable and all that cool stuff for all the Discount Domain Club members that are going to have access when we relaunch. So the relaunch for everybody is December 16th. For legacy DNAcademy members, GoDaddy appreciates the relationship that we've had with them. So they're going to come over and be lifetime legacy members on DomainAcademy as well, which is awesome. So yeah, we're excited. We just passed user acceptance testing last week. We are going into migrating to our production servers this week. Next week, I'm going to be rebuilding everything from the ground up using a brand new shiny learning management system. It's going to be awesome.
Oh,
really
wow.
excited about it.
Super cool, man. Well, and I think that's
Very
one of those
cool.
things, where it's like now, you're leveraging the larger, obviously, the huge customer base and, and some of the, the tools and the resources that they have, in a real positive way. And there's nobody better to be doing that than you, man. So, well,
Thanks,
congratulations.
man. So I'll
We're
just
excited.
say, if anybody wants to if you're already a Discount Domain Club member at GoDaddy, you'll get it December 16th. Just sign into your account or watch DNAcademy on Twitter or whatever. If you're not a member yet and you're thinking about signing up, just go to DNAcademy.com and click the join the waitlist, and I'll let you know when it's live and you can sign on to that or sign up for DDC and then get access to it.
Hey,
awesome.
While you're there, could you do me a huge favor and tell GoDaddy I'm not from Thailand?
Do you want me to rename, renew some of your
Just up in the corner?
I know it drives me crazy. Just scroll all the way to the bottom.
I know, and change.
All right,
yeah.
and then change your country.
I've learned so much about the world based on the different countries that I'm at. I actually look it up and see. I'll go to Wikipedia and see what the population is, and I learn the currency. Like I purchase things in different currencies. It's been amazing.
That's awesome.
All right,
see?
so I want to start off this show before we get out of the introductions, because I've got introductions for JT. I've listened to every show since I left Domain Sherpa, when Tess was running it, when you're running it now, JT. And so we got our boy JT, aka all right, aka the man who has more words than the rest of the Sherpa panel combined, aka it's all good, aka let's keep it real, y'all, aka but let's keep it moving, aka and with that, back to you, JT.
All right.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Thank you, man. That's awesome.
Every single week I listen to it and I'm like, oh, he said another thing that he says. And I just make a note on my phone.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, all that now I'm gonna be like thinking about as I'm about to say one of the things you named,
I know it. I just named it. Get out your bingo cards. Those are the squares.
For those of you who take a
JT,
shot.
have you done
Exactly.
more shows than Tess yet?
Oh, that's a good question. I think so. I think it's pretty
Probably.
close, but big shout out to Tess. I saw her in person at NamesCon, and it's the first time I'd seen her since, she had moved over to go work with Kate and then moved back over to work with GoDaddy and stuff. So that was cool. And I think we'll have to see, because we've been doing a lot. We put all the shows on the YouTube channel, which is ds.tv, which I'll mention in the intro for the show and all that good stuff. But, we've done a good job of cataloging a lot of it too now. And so I think we've got some numbers that we can look at to see. So Billy, let's run the numbers and see how many.
Run the numbers
and
let me know when JT hits 404, because that's the number to beat.
Yeah, is that what you were?
Is that your number?
Oh, I love it. 404,
404, baby.
404.
Let's see. So you ran it from 2010 until 2017?
17 when you bought it. Yep.
17.
Yeah.
And we bought it really like January 1st or something. So,
yeah.
All right. So 404 shows in 7 years, and it's been 5 years since.
Yeah, of which I think
Almost
Tess
to
was on. Tess did about 3 and change, and I'm just shy.
Yeah,
of
but we
2.
weren't as consistent under Tess.
Yeah. You got a way to go. You got a ways to go.
Yeah, but yeah,
maybe.
Well,
Hey, I also need to give a quick disclaimer before we start, that even though I am employed by GoDaddy, I am not representing GoDaddy on this Sherpa episode. things are probably going to be said that are inappropriate, like Laotian boys or something. That is not reflective of GoDaddy.
What's wrong with that? That's a legitimate country.
You learned about it by the language on your GoDaddy account changing.
I do not text message Amon or Paul Nix on a daily basis. These are my own opinions. They do not represent the opinions of GoDaddy. This is for information and entertainment only. And should not be taken as financial advice. And so with that, I have some .horse domain names I would like to recommend to everybody.
Yeah, we got,
You know what? I actually have this like unconsensus view that .horse is like one of the biggest sleepers of all the TLDs. And the reason is because it's the one that everybody like defaults to when they're trying to make fun of TLDs, including myself. Right. Like when somebody asks me like, oh, what's a new TLD? I'm like, well, like .horse. Right. And it's like, because it's the most ridiculous thing you can come up with.
No, I mean, Shane .horse would play well on Twitter.
It's totally true. Because,
it would actually work really well on Tinder.
Well, Amar, we've talked about this on the show. Amar has hung like .horse, and we all have email addresses there. And I was like, I haven't checked it in a long time, but I can't imagine what's sitting in that inbox right now. So, but,
I'm gonna go make a run before this airs. That's true. Like if
buy them up,
this might help it pop off. So, but to Michael's point, right? Never financial advice, more entertainment than information, but hopefully helping everybody in their journey of domain investing. So with
that is the idea.
With
entertaining info. That's what we call it. Entertaining info.
Infotainment for all y'all. All right. Well, with that, let's go ahead and slide into
bingo
shot time. All right, let's get into the domain game. So we'll start with Cyger because we're going to go in order, and you're in my upper right, and then Drew, and then Shane. So what do you got? You got to buy, you got to sell. What you got for us?
I got a sale, and I wish I had a buy. I haven't been buying anything lately, and so ever since I stopped doing Sherpa, the deal flow past my desk has definitely trickled off. Last year, I sold a couple of single words to Brent Oxley. I've got cash sitting in the bank. I'm more than happy to spend my cash. So if you have great single word SLDs, .com, .io, .xyz, hit me up.
He's out of practice.
You definitely been
what it looks like when that happens.
Your email box. Oh boy.
That's it.
All right, I got a sale. All right, here's the sale. The domain is RealInnovation.com.
All right, Cyger, by the way, you've watched the last few episodes, but we now, exactly. Yep.
Put the,
so wait, hold on.
Get up the calculator app. Is that it?
Calculator app.
Real what?
RealInnovation.com.
Innovation.
RealInnovation.com. All right. RealInnovation.com.
All right. Shane, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hold on. I'm not ready. RealInnovation.com.
You get like media options sticker for the back of my phone since somebody.
It's funny. I actually know who would be the perfect buyer for that domain.
Damn it, Drew. Thanks for nothing, man.
RealInnovation.com. All right.
Like I could have made so much money.
I'm gonna do this. I might as well get some promotion.
There you go. B-House. That's what I was just thinking. I'm like, I got to get the media options like button on the back.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
All right, here we go. 1, 3, 2, 1, turn.
Hold on. I got off the calculator. Hold on. I'm on the compass. I was on the compass.
All right. So for those of you who are listening and not watching, I've got 4,999, just under 5,000. Drew has 7,888, and Shane's got 1,750. So we're running the gamut. We're not no real overlap. 17,000.
Oh
yeah. I'm sorry, my bad. Yeah, 17,500.
That could come into play.
Yes, yeah, it could matter. All right, so Shane's just shy of 18 grand. Drew's just shy of 8,000. I'm about 5,000.
It's a nice spread. It's a good spread here.
It's a good spread, and I sold it for a jar of Colonel Whitenfur's honey. No, I'm just joking.
I'm like, oh man.
Okay,
here's the 17.5.
All right, you ready?
We're
The
ready.
answer is
Yeah.
$1,495.
Oh yeah.
JT.
All right. So yep, and I'll give you.
Hey Shane, how many of these gold?
Oh, you got one too.
Gold wax white and furs are there?
Look, we all got
because
one.
I was under the impression, I got some scared shit. And suddenly everybody's got it.
No, it's only 25. Just everybody you know. I only take 25.
Look at us. So we're three. We can corner the market on the white and fur this particular batch,
And not to take away from Michael's talk, but I have the drop coming for all this. I got the sweet 3 foot by 2 foot poster. I've got an NFT coming from a legit artist, like a famous artist. And then I'll get you some more hot honey. I'm going to send it, I think, to your mom, Drew, since you're not in the States. But
all right.
I appreciate it.
Remember that time I sent you fudge? Remember that time I sent you fudge for the holidays, Drew? I probably sent it to you too, Shane. But I sent it to you, Drew, and you got it like a month later, and it was all melted and off the side of the box.
More than a month.
It was
more than a month.
I heard the story. It doesn't travel on boat well.
It's tough to ship internationally.
So, so tell us. Yep, give us the background.
Yep. So the deal was, I've got 30 investment domain names, right? I don't have a ton of domains. Most of the stuff I have because I, started a media company, and then I sold that one in 2007, and then I bought it back in 2011. This was one of those domain names that used to be an operating business. I sold it as part of a package to a larger media company that was rolling up media companies, bought it back as a result of the global recession, shut down the media company because it just wasn't making any money at that point. And then I go to NamesCon in Austin this past late August, September. And, the GoDaddy booth gives away the teal socks every year. And so I grabbed a pair, and then the next day I put them on. And bam, the email shows up from Afternic saying that RealInnovation was sold. I registered it 2003, sold it as part of the package in 2007, 2008, bought it back in 2011. It sat for 10 years with various pricing. But the latest pricing was $54.95, and it sold. And I just typed it in yesterday. It sold to like a company. I used to talk about structured innovation as a methodology, like Six Sigma or outsourcing, things like that. It's a company that does insurance, lending, and real estate financial solutions. So good for them.
So I'm part of a sort of entrepreneurial group called Voyagers, and it is founded by and organized by the ex-chief editor of Wired Magazine, UK. And he wrote a book called Non-Bullshit Innovation. And to much, I think it was very well received. And he was basically, evaluating the whole tech landscape and looking at what is actual real innovation and what is just like a Me Too sort of, reinventing the mousetrap type of thing. And it's a really good book. I recommend it.
So that really sentiment is exactly why I hand registered Real Innovation, because there was too much BS innovation out there. People calling it innovation, but it's not repeatable, structured, something that has tangible to it. They just do something and call it innovation.
I think I told you, Cyger, I think I told you about him, David Rowan, like years ago when I first met him, because you guys are actually so alike, both aesthetically, the way you think, the way you talk, the way mannerisms.
Aesthetically,
you guys are you're very, very, very similar. No, look, if you Google him, Google David Rowan, ROWAN, and tell me that you don't have some, very aesthetic similarities.
That's what I used to say about Morgan Linton until I realized everybody in San Francisco talks and looks and acts like Morgan. Every day I'd say, you remind me of Morgan Linton. And then the next day, you remind me of Morgan Linton. And then I was like, okay, now I get it.
I wish I had a chiseled chin like David Rowan. But yes, he is a good looking guy.
I do look like him.
Oh, good stuff. Man, there's a lot, covering a lot of ground today. That's good. Let's keep it moving.
Got the W.
On that note, but glad I got
on
the
that
point.
Note, bingo card.
Yep. On that note, glad I got the point. I think but interesting that you sold it, bought it back, held it for 10 years,
Except
and then
you
sold it
didn't.
again.
Drew got the point.
No, I got the point because it was 5,000.
Yeah, no,
it was like 5,400 or something. My guess was I had I had 4,999, and it was like just under 5,500. So, boom, we closest to the pin rules up in here,
That's right.
All right, let's go. All right, Drew, what do you got? You got a buy or a sell?
I got a sale. I got a sale.
All right, I like that. I like the way that sounds.
All right. So, caveat, this one has not officially closed, but it seems like a very eager buyer. The deal is in escrow, and I do believe it will close. The domain name is tradesman.com. Tradesman.com, singular, tradesman.
MAN.
MAN.
TRADESMAN. Tradesman. Tradesman.com.
All right. I don't know this one, so I get to participate, which is exciting.
All right.
All right. You all ready? 3, 2, 1, turn.
Y'all ready for this?
Oh,
wow.
we got a big old spread.
Went.
All right, here we go.
That's a spread.
We've got Shane with 10,500, JT with 18,000, and Cyger with $85,000. I hope Cyger's right, just for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Right.
Here we go.
Wearing my MediaOptions hat, I'm like, please. Whoa, baby! That's a Cyger was correct. The right answer was. Did I say 15,000? I meant 150,000. I was right on the nose.
Were you guys thinking wholesale buying? Like, I don't get it.
Are you guys right?
She ain't trying to change the number. 150,000. Yeah, I don't. You know what it is? It's funny. I think for me, I was pretty low on it, and I'd like to get Shane's input on why he was as low as he was, because he was even lower than I was. But
Did you say the prices that we put in for those listening?
I did. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And so Cyger gets the point because he was at 85,000, the closest to the 150,000. And even he was well under, almost half off.
Yeah.
And, for me, it was because the way Drew was presenting it, the way he was like tradesman and, just kind of like over accentuating, almost like I felt like he was downplaying the name and the value and the use. He's like, it's the singular, I'm kind of like, okay, he's sort of making a point to like, I don't know, over describe the name. That to me sounds like he's trying to set it up.
If as an avid listener, listen to every single show, if I can make a request that you don't allow anybody to say anything, because Miller gets on here and he's like, well, it was a small sale. I'm like, you can't say it's a small sale before you say the domain name.
Yeah.
Like you're leading the witness.
Yep.
Miller never even gives a price anyway. So
I
it
know.
doesn't even matter.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, it was a small sale.
Small for me.
And we all guess, and he's like, oh no, I can't disclose it. I can't tell you what it's sold for. He's like,
then what are we doing here, Miller?
Sorry.
Yeah.
He's like, for that, you'll have to listen to my podcast over at Hilco Digital Media.
Yeah. Hilco.horse.
Let's go. Shout out to Miller, though. What's good,
All right,
Miller?
so I want to hear the story, and then I want to hear why you and Shane, JT and Shane, thought it was like $10,000 sale. Like, what is going on here?
I was thinking I was in the 15 to 20 range. Well, I'll tell you, and then let Drew, and then let Shane.
Where are y'all finding oneword.coms for 10 grand?
No, not happening.
You're right.
And then second of all, this is a sale, not a buy.
Right.
Yeah, I got all crossed up on that, man. We've been slow lately. I don't know,
Y'all are tripping.
We're not that slow, but I figured I don't know. There was something in your tone of voice that made me think it wasn't that big of a deal. I don't know what it was. That was really all where it's coming from for me. What about you, Shane? Why were you so low?
Oh, I think I still came in third place. So it's pretty good. I know. I still get a medal, so I'm not real worried about it. No, honestly, it's just, I consider myself pretty versed in where tradesmen's just, other than unions, it's not something that a term that I think when I look at it's not I understand the word. I understand it's one word, 100%. I wasn't thinking that. Yeah. Oneword.com alone is, 25,000 right now. But at the same time, it's not something I've used in my vocabulary in the whole year. Like I try and think of, have I used that word? I haven't used that word once other than union. So to me, it just didn't seem that special. But that's why I'm on this show. That's why I listen, because every time I say that, they're like, "Are you kidding me? It's the biggest word in so and so. It's a
tell Jimmy
$1
Hoffa that unions aren't a big deal."
No.
Whenever you find him and tell him, I
get my electrician's bill. I know it's a big deal.
No, and I'll tell you something too. It's like, I don't know why. I think I just I maybe because I was also like I wanted it to be a big sale, so it's like betting against my team. Like I'll bet against the Phillies because if they lose, I don't feel as bad. But no, and I think that thinking about the word, I do think it's actually a pretty cool word that could be a pretty interesting, neat brand across different things. Because tradesman could be like tools, and it could be clothing, it could be gear. It would. So we'll let Drew, if you to the extent.
But you also said man and men. Like you even described the problem in the pronunciation when you say trades. I mean, to me, that right there is.
That's what I'm saying. Something. That was part of it too. Is he was really, I felt like kind of like gearing us up, like to give us an excuse. All right, go ahead, Drew. Talk to us.
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds. It sounds like y'all got a whole bunch of excuses.
Third place. Don't worry about it.
Second, silver medal. Silver's popping.
Medal.
All right. So first off, the domain sale is on a payment plan. So there is that caveat. But I will say a couple of points of interest. It is, I believe, the fourth highest performing domain name in parking that we have. Mm-hmm. And we have some pretty good domains that do well in parking. It makes hundreds of dollars a month and not like 200. It makes a pretty good amount of money a month. Second of all, it has significant traffic to generate that revenue. And it has a shocking number of inquiries. It gets a lot of inquiries. Now, granted, this is the first inquiry that was really, came in hot and he wanted this name bad. But we get a lot of inquiries on this name. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, Shane, I like those medals, buddy. You got to be watching the show to see the
third place.
It also actually, one other point I'm going to make is, a lot of people, particularly in the domain space, are afraid to pick up the phone. And this came in via phone. And this is just another demonstration of if you get me on the phone, I'm going to win every time.
Right. And talk about mom and pop type shop or people that want to get on the phone. Like who's getting on the phone? It's tradesmen.
Yep. 100%.
Right. They want to negotiate. They want to talk to somebody. They want to know it's real. Damn it. Don't make me go get my awards.
What's up?
You want Pee-wee football awards? What is that?
Yeah, actually, I had to go get my kids' trophies is what I had to do in order to have stuff to hype up. I have no medals of my own. So I ran into one of my kids' rooms real quick.
Oh, yeah. Drew's now going to steal something from.
How many of these things?
Don't forget that.
How many of these you want me to start holding up?
Yeah,
we got
his escrow.
How many of these you want me to hold up?
You got a Dundee on the back wall.
I do. I have a from back in the NameJet days. I got the best domain auction platform one. I got that back there. But
that's great.
Hey, so while you were all getting your awards, I actually went to DNAcademy and used the research snapshot and looked up tradesman.com and TLD register count 69. The number of SLDs, second level domains that include tradesmen in it are 1,684. So a lot of companies this could be an upgrade for. Registered in 1996. Exact match trademarks. So just tradesmen is 18. That's a lot. And then broad is 29. So that means that something tradesman or tradesman something. Yeah. It's, and the fact that it makes money every day, Frank Schilling would say that's worth, probably $150,000. That alone, if it were making hundreds of dollars a month, is enough to put it up in that range.
Yeah, not to mention all the businesses and everything else. So yeah,
I mean, that's just.
And I think it's a dope name. I like the word. I like that. I did not give it enough thought. I got to say, I really came up really short on that one. And but not as short as Shane.
To say it hasn't sold, so this is all moot.
Well, exactly, right? But it only takes one buyer, but you might have to wait 10 years for that buyer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to get the price you want,
or that company, and I know, but I think
I just want to, on this topic, I want to push back on Shane and Elliot for giving this domain queen thing to Swetha. Like, yo, big up Swetha. Like, if you're putting up numbers, big up. I got nothing but love for you. Where I do have a little bit of sore ego is when my brothers Elliot and Shane are like, there's no other domain investor putting up numbers like Swetha. It's like, I did that.
That was a troll.
Where each month I did more than she did the last year.
Come on, that I picked the person that would offend him most. Like, if I put you, he'd be like, yeah, that's legit. No, that's no fun. I had to pick someone completely.
Hey, but shout out to her. She's really been able to reach.
But shout out Swetha.
She's with the foresight on the .xyz stuff, and really great to see that.
That's what it's all about, right? Someone that sticks to their conviction, puts all their money into something that nobody called you stupid the whole time, Drew. I mean, not about domains, but
right.
Everything.
I pretty regularly, as a matter of fact.
When it comes to your investment strategy, she probably was told for years and years and years what a waste of time. It's a dead TLD. Again, that I totally respect people that are willing to go their own path and stay on that path until.
Totally.
I am willing to pay good money for a pay-per-view episode with Swetha where we get to find out what was going through her mind, registering 10,000, of these .xyzs for a dollar a piece, and then having to pay $100,000 a year to renew them, and then $200,000 as her portfolio increase. That's what I want to know. Like, that takes real conviction.
Yo, and it would JT. Didn't we already talk about this? Get on it, boy.
Yeah.
Go get her.
I'll holler at her.
Go get her.
So,
and it would also end all this. Like, I want to see her in person, and this is not a real person.
Yeah.
That would be a great way to come on with us, have a great time. We'll treat her kindly. I want to come on that show tell her story.
Yeah, well, when we're expanding the the guest list, we've got Leanne coming on in a couple weeks.
Oh, nice.
So that'd be cool. We got because we have so many of the usual suspects, but we have
Swetha's going to be motivational for me to buy 20,000 .horse domains. I'm going all in.
Let's go. Hey,
this is just for entertainment purposes, people. Do not
NFA, not financial advice. But I'm with you guys on all counts. And shout out to her for being the best domainer ever. And you
can just see the pain on Drew's face when you said that.
We know the true king is Drew, but it's not. The story's not as fun against
Drew. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. All right, so
y'all forgot about Drew.
Nowadays, everybody want to talk like they got something to say. All right, Shane, what do you got? You got to buy, a sell?
No, I don't have anything just because I made it public, but I did buy a name that I really like, and I'd love to hear your opinion. And it's been sold before, but I bought it at GoDaddy Auctions, and I don't mind saying what I paid because it's, to me, worth a lot more. But I bought Encrypto.com, ENCRYPTO.com. And
saw that one.
Somebody purchased it for 10 grand and didn't renew it and went back up for auction. And
God bless.
And then I bought it for 10 grand again.
Yeah.
So I like the name.
Wait, what happened to the guessing part?
Why didn't you just let us guess?
No. I already said it. I put it publicly.
Why do you think we follow every single tweet and everything you do? You know what I mean? You should have let us at least guess.
All right. So here we get. The tweet I did see was that you were going all in on ETH. So should we guess your entry price? We're gonna guess your entry price.
Yeah, I did. I went hard.
Yeah, you went deep.
The house, more than my house.
Oh wow!
I liquidated all that cash. It was sitting at Gemini GUSD earning 6.1% for, but I will say I got out of ETH at 2640, 2630. So,
all right. So what are we doing? So
nice.
we're putting your
So you
buy.
got back in at half.
So we're putting a number in for what he went all in on ETH for?
Yeah.
The per ETH per coin price, not the total amount.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't even know what
that.
ETH is at.
Well, since I just went back in, it's fairly easy range, at least. I haven't seen what it is today. It was moving a little bit today.
Yeah, I liquidated all my crypto. Did I mention that I'm buying single SLDs that are dictionary words in .com? Hit me up at Michael.
You're
Cyger
going to
on
get
Twitter.
hit. You're going to
He's
get
like,
hit.
that's all I
You're
want,
gonna
though.
find
That's
out
all I
how to
want is
words
those.
in the dictionary.
Don't you worry about it.
But they have to be a real word. They have to be real words in the Merriam-Webster dictionary. We're not talking about
the dictionary. You just didn't
in
know
a real dictionary.
It'll be in there. You just
All
didn't know
right.
it could conjugate that.
All right, here we go.
It doesn't matter how many specifications you're going to put on it. These people interpret shit in ways you didn't know was possible.
Yeah, you're gonna be like,
All right, here we go.
Flood is coming. All right, so so this is obviously we talk about digital assets, the full umbrella, which also includes crypto. So here we go. This is a special little round of the domain game. So Shane went heavy in ETH recently, and we're guessing what his entry price was. So everybody got a number?
Not financial advice.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, definitely not. But it's all good. You got to get rich somehow. All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Or die trying.
Let's go.
Phew, I was in the right range.
All right, so we've got Cyger at 1150, we've got Drew at 1290, and JT at 1333. So, what is the deal, Shane? What's the deal?
Yeah, no, I just did it this past couple of days, so I'm in at 1360. 1360.
JT with the win. Boom, taking home the domain game trophy again. Oh man, Mike, I wanted it to be you. But
just psychologically, man, how could you be above the half price? You had to get in below.
Well, I was afraid it might not get back down there. And honestly, what made this is really odd, but one, we're about to go deflationary. Like it's there. Two, we've been beaten down a long time, and I can feel the sentiment overall changing a little bit in just in the way people are talking. Three, the damn skateboard for Azuki went to auction. So there's a gold auction.
I saw that 2.8 million or something they made.
Yeah,
2.5,
it goes
whatever.
for the amount of bidders and the amount of ETH in that list showed me there's a ton of money sitting there. There's a ton of money on the sidelines. Everybody's waiting for something. Some catalyst.
They're waiting for the pivot, man. They're waiting for the pivot. And if they decide that they don't want to wait for the pivot, they're just going to run out the stable regardless, right? I guess that's kind of your point. Well, talking really quick on the NFT side, Reddit just dropped digital collectibles, right? They said, we're just not going to call them NFTs. That was the secret. And then all of a sudden they went kind of crazy over there, and introducing a whole lot of folks. And what I think is interesting on the crypto side though, is, you're starting to see different platforms and places make, Fidelity now. You can, trade Ethereum, right? So,
100%.
there's
legitimacy.
It's the continued adoption, right? To add to the, and I think those kinds of things, it's like every time they happen, we say, oh, it's probably nothing or whatever, right? But, at some point it becomes something, and there is somewhat of a tipping point in those things that will create this move in the market. And, and
the ease of investment, like anybody now in the United States can go to PayPal or Venmo or anything and buy currency. That's a huge, that ability for anybody to do it is becoming more popular. But I think that there has to be a change in the overall atmosphere, and it's been pretty ugly over the last summer. Like everybody's just bitching and complaining, but I feel like that's changing a little bit, and I think that's. They found out that we ain't all going to make it.
Oh no!
I love these lessons. So Drew and I talk about this all the time. We love when it hits hard like this because these are the true opportunities. Because
here's what I think you should do at Domain Sherpa. You create a Domain Sherpa token where you get access to Drew he signs on from Drew.tv once a week, whatever he's doing. He's in his underwear, he's working, he's on the beach, wherever he is, vacationing, like he's always vacationing. And you get like straight alpha from Drew on anything in life, but you can't sign in unless you have that NFT in your wallet, right? So you gate it or whatever before the Zoom. You got to be there. It also gets you into the exclusive party when we go to Vegas. You get to hang out with Drew. You sell them for some price. If they can be resold, if people get tired of Drew, they can put it back up for sale. 50% goes back to you guys at DomainSherpa. 50% goes back to the.
I don't hate it, but you're putting a lot of it on Drew. It's a lot of.
That's a lot. I know that's a lot. But
it's
like,
the Drew
come on,
coin.
Drew's like the Gary V of the domain name industry.
It is true. It's true.
Yeah,
well,
but
but for what it's worth,
you deliver the content.
Quick shout out though to my boy Drew. I mean,
want to deliver the content.
He's been appearing, so Drew's been on a bunch of other podcasts and things recently. If people have been paying attention, and just recently gave a really pretty wild talk at Kensington Palace in London to some like really interesting folks, preaching the gospel of digital assets, domain names, crypto, NFTs, all that kind of stuff.
That on YouTube?
Were you nervous? Were you nervous, Drew?
No, I'm trying to get permission to see if I can publish it. I do have a copy. I'll send it to you. Just
nice.
You can't share it.
You weren't
but
nervous?
I'm trying to get permission
You said you
to
weren't.
publish it.
You saying you weren't nervous?
I was very nervous, actually.
Okay.
It's the first time.
That's what I was gonna say.
I'm like, I'm in a real awkward spot because Drew's my boss, so I can't put him out on blast. But I've never seen him that like.
It was the first
focused.
time I've ever been nervous. I've never been nervous about public speaking in my life.
Until the real people very show up in the crowd. Like, yeah.
And then this was, No, this was a crowd. This was an unprecedented crowd. So it was some really.
I lost it. What was the invite?
What do you mean?
Like who was it for? What was the event?
It was the Banco Saudi Franzi with a British wealth manager. So they are a very large Saudi private wealth bank. And then there's a British wealth management firm. And it was these two that put together this forum for 150 very special guests.
Wow.
And
love it.
And there was the original keynote speaker was meant to be Larry Fink. And then he canceled at the last minute, and it was Steve. I'm blanking. Steve from
Bain, right?
From Bain, the chairman of Bain Capital, Bain everything.
And they opened up for Drew, basically. So
that's the owner. He's the owner, also the owner of the Celtics. Anyways, and then I gave the closing keynote. And it was a 45-minute monologue. And it was, it actually went, it turned out really good and everybody seemed to love it.
So what's your speaking style? Is it pointers off a cue card? Is it an organized, like everybody speaks in a different style? Did you have points that you wanted to get to? Because I know it could be a 4-hour talk too.
Yeah. So this was my issue, is that I don't mind public speaking, but I never really have a very organized talk. I know what I want to talk about and I talk about it. Or like, the fireside chat at Amazon I did with Cyger. Cyger and I are having a conversation. And if we're just having a conversation, I'll go for 8 hours, like no problem, right? I will not run out of content. But in just a monologue, my problem is that I go down these side tangents. And so it's very hard for me to stay focused and stay, on message, on point. And it's really, my brain. So I actually ended up going with cue cards. I practiced this thing 48 times, because I didn't really want to read from cue cards. But at the end, I basically had the cue cards. I kind of used them as a crutch. I think I did a pretty good job between, having to look at the cue cards and, there was a deck.
The deck was solid.
I was pacing the floor pretty.
But the deck was part of the presentation that the team put together. And shout out to Billy and
JT did a great job. Billy did a great job working on the deck.
The squad represented.
It was. I think it went really well.
That's
I think
awesome.
he made some very good points. And, you know, the premise of the entire thing was basically condensing this whole digital asset space into, you know, a much more simple way of understanding it. That, like, you know, the metaverse and Web3, these aren't new places that are going to exist somewhere. These are literally just new technologies enabling the exact same internet that we all know and love today in new ways. You know, it's nothing to be intimidated about. That these are just, it's like, okay, Web 1 to Web 2 was, you know, basically created all these new business models, but we never really found a great business model fit on Web 2, which led to the users of the internet actually becoming the product, not the customer. And the customer of the internet is actually the advertisers. And so you have the platforms that basically package us up as users to create a perfect product to deliver to the advertisers. And that's why they're manipulating us, the way we think, what we click on, what we read, our behaviors on the internet. And so basically, as a result of that problem caused by Web 2, Web 3 is actually just a logical extension as a solution to that problem, to introduce native digital money that allows for new monetization models, new incentive models that will stop that manipulative behavior, hopefully, and allow new, let's call it toll booth style monetization models where it will be pay for what you consume. And that allows for a lot more people to have a voice, and it incentivizes higher quality content versus higher quantity of content. And so it's not how many things can we get you to click on, it's how much time are you going to spend on this one thing. And that is, an incentive for the people creating the content to create higher quality content, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Anyways, but I actually premised the entire thing around domain names because it was like trying to get them to understand that actually domains really are the original NFT. And what is an NFT? It's really just a pointer. It's, the NFT is not the monkey JPEG, right? The NFT is the technology that points to the monkey JPEG. And there are some projects which actually have on-chain where the file, the image, the JPEG, whatever it is pointed to is actually on-chain. But in most cases, including all of the big projects, it's actually just an identifier, like a domain name, that points to a file that is on a fully centralized server like AWS. And, it literally is just, if domain names represent, brand and destination or location on the internet, an NFT represents something else, some other form of identity or identification or reference on the internet. So anyways, that was the premise of the whole talk.
Nice. So yeah, that's what I was wondering. How much of that talk was domain name related or couched in a domain name or referencing domain names? A lot of it.
A lot.
And how did they hear about you, Drew? How did they know that you're opinionated about this to make the invitation?
I got asked to be a speaker at a Real Vision Black Label event. So realvision.com is one of the biggest financial media networks. It's phenomenal. I love them. I think the content is invaluable. They are like the DomainSherpa of finance, but on steroids. And I've been a longtime fan and subscriber. And then I was asked through a mutual friend who had suggested me, she's a quite famous economist, Pippa Malmgren, and she suggested them that they have me come in to talk about domain names and my experience with NFTs and just digital assets in general. And I went and gave that talk in Madeira, I don't know, a year and a half ago or something, a year ago. And then I subsequently have done several other talks with Real Vision. And the most recent one is on YouTube, actually, for non-subscribers, if anybody wants to check it out. And then it's called My Life in 4 Trades. But anyways, and then it was, I guess they saw that. They saw one of those talks. And the chief digital officer for the bank happens to be a fan and actually watches DomainSherpa. And he was like,
there we
"You're the
go.
man."
That's all I wanted to hear.
Yep.
All roads lead to domains.
I was wishing.
All
I
roads
went
lead
out
to
on
domain
North
Sherpa.
Edition. I cast my line way out there. It took forever to get to the point, but it finally hit. Domain Sherpa brought that deal.
Going to the next honey conference.
Let's go. But awesome stuff. And I mean, it's super cool. And I think we can spend a lot more time talking about that, but I think we've covered a lot of ground. Shane,
did not end up being at Kensington Palace though, because the Queen happened to have died a few days earlier.
Wow.
So literally the Queen's funeral was on Monday and my talk was on Tuesday. So they had to make some changes. But it was cool. I actually got to go and I went to Kensington Palace and I went to Buckingham Palace and I got to see all of the celebratory stuff around the Queen's funeral. So that was kind of cool to be there for that for that moment. That was kind of
no, that's awesome stuff. But did you win the domain game today? No, because I did. And Shane, 30 seconds just to wrap this up, because I do think this makes a good point and ties to the domain that you bought, that then you disclosed the name super quick and didn't talk about it at all.
I ruined everything. Sure.
In third place, Shane with the bronze medal again.
Fourth.
In Encrypto.com. So you're out of the medal. You're out of the medal contention now. Encrypto.com. I mean, I think it's dope because you've got the whole, Encrypto, like with the EN spelling, like, foreign language, but then you've got Encrypto, like encryption, right? Like you said, so it showed up on GoDaddy auctions and you bought it for $10K, and which I think was a great deal, man. I mean, I think you buy that all day. If you
I thought for sure it would go higher.
So I bought years ago. I bought Crypt.com, and I am subsequently sold that for a lot of money. Like, I don't remember the price now, but I think it was like, $400,000, something like that. And I think that's sort of in the same vein, like, some variation play on the word for crypto. Right. And so, I think you'll do very well.
Crypto, or just, crypto is supposed to be decentralized, but we know it's not super decentralized. But there are
except Bitcoin. Thank you very much.
Yeah, except for Bitcoin. And what was the trading platform?
Bitcoin.
What was this? What was the place that they banned? They spun the coin and you couldn't track anything.
The Tornado Cash.
Yeah, Tornado Cash. So, I mean, I still think there's going to be some desire to have encrypted crypto trading and no way to track anything. So, yeah, I think it's a big name. I mean, it's, I tell everybody, when you sell a name, you've got to replace it if you're in this game for long term. And I sold Monkey Ranch, and I was like, I need a name that's that's two words officially, but a name that's similar. And so I had 40 grand after taxes, let's say 25 grand to play. So I got one for 10 grand that I feel is a 25 grand name. So I'm super happy with that replacement.
Totally.
Yeah, and that 25 is on the buy.
25.
25.
Yeah, I mean,
that's like 150, 250.
No, that's what I mean. Like,
he means on the buy side, because like we talk about on the show all the time. You're making money on the buy, so you would have paid up to 25K.
Yeah, that's a nice buy, and that's what I find also. Like, as you go up the rungs of what you're paying for domain names, there are fewer competitors that are willing to pay that much, which is what I like to see. And so, I think that's a great buy for 10K. Nice work on that one.
Awesome stuff. So, all right, cool. Well, that wraps up that segment, and we're going to take a quick break and then come back here with the NameJet segment, sponsored by NameJet, here on Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains.
MediaOptions is the industry's leading domain broker specializing in domain acquisitions, high-value domain sales, and domain name consultation. As pioneers and thought leaders on the subject of the domain aftermarket and domain name value, plus through their clear domain acquisition service, MediaOptions offers startups and established corporations an unparalleled scope of high-value domain options, providing access to domain names and curation technologies not available elsewhere. MediaOptions believes in the power of a great domain name and is dedicated to helping you obtain yours. Call or email today to put a domain to work for you.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to DomainSherpa, where all roads lead to domains. We've got the return of the one and only Mike Cyger on this show, which makes this a super special show. We spent a long time on the domain game. We'll see how we do as we come up here on segment 3, NameJet, sponsored by our friends at NameJet. We're going to look at a list of domains coming up for auction. Go to the site. You can download the list. We've got the spreadsheet that has the list of names, the appraisal, how many back orders as of the time we tape the show, how many days left in the back order period as of the day the show airs. These are all expiring domains, which means they're all going to be private auctions. They've all got multiple bidders already, which means if you want to be able to have a shot at any of these domains, you have to have a back order in before the end of the back order period. So there's also some other info on the sheet, so hopefully that helps. We get no direct financial benefit from you buying, bidding. None of this is financial advice, but hopefully it's helpful. And so now in this portion of the show, we see what the Sherpas like on the list, what they don't like, names they and why they might like something or why they might not. So with that, let's go to the man himself.
Bingo.
In his big return, the one and only. So, Cyger, what do you like, man? What do you look at the list? What don't you like?
Here
What
comes
stands
the
out?
data. Here comes the data.
Here comes the data, baby.
That's perfect.
I like,
Let 'em
how
know.
many domains am I allowed to say before you harangue me?
So there's 16 on the list. I'll give you. You can have 6. You can do 6.
Oh,
I'm gonna tell
whoa, man, he's doubling it up for you.
I'm going to tell you 4 I like and 3 I don't like. And
Okay.
then you can just ask me which. So I like the next level, a 3-word.com. I like it. I like smartmeter.com. I like prime1.com, and I like careeradvice.org. I do not like medicalcenter.com, cutter.net, qatar.net, and engineers.net. So
Okay. Well,
let me talk about the ones that I like. The next level, like take it to the next level. It's a phrase that commerce and culture drew. Like, here's the culture. Don't get them started.
Commerce and culture.
Oh,
It's a
stirs
culture
the pot.
reference.
My boy Cyger stirring the pot.
I know. I've been waiting weeks for this, man. Weeks.
Let's go.
So, you can go look at the metrics. It feels good, right? The nextlevel.com. That's because there are 180 companies that are using that. There's 90 TLDs registered. Nextlevel.com would be great, but Michael Birkins, the man, the myth, made a pretty much cornered the industry on the domain names, and this is a good example of another really strong domain name. I think it's probably got a retail value. I didn't do a ton of research, probably in the 20,000, maybe as high as 40,000 if there's the highest and best use case buyer out there that needs it. So I'd love to own it for under $2,500. I haven't been buying a lot lately. I'm not sure if I think 2,500 would probably be low for it at NameJet. But tons of comps on 3-word domain names with the at the front, like the Market Mogul for 18,000, the Players Alliance for 18,000, the News Hub for 15,000, all recent sales. So I really like that one. And, anything with smart at the beginning, smartmeter.com, I think is great. It's not going to be as valuable as the next level, but I think it's good. Taking in a lot of extensions, 2 words, 3 syllables, 10 characters. It's that sweet spot. Keith DeBoer, who is one of the instructors at the new GoDaddy DomainAcademy, talks about this all the time. Those are the nice brands that, people could start up a product, a service, maybe a company on. And I think Smart Meter is a great one for that. I'm not even sure what it would be measuring, but that's the beauty of it. It's not so specific that it gets you locked in. It could apply to a few different areas. So, I think it's probably a $10,000 domain name, maybe a little bit more. And I would love to own it for a tenth of that price. So $1,000, somewhere around there. I'd hate it if it goes for like $3,000, which it probably will at NameJet. But that's just me. I try to be very disciplined in my buying, and if I can't get a good deal, I don't want just an okay deal. There's too many other opportunities out there. So I'm just going to wait. And then I'll just talk about careeradvice.org. I don't think I own any .org except for like my last name, but this is the kind of domain name that I think is a great domain name. It exudes trust because it's a .org. People always need career advice. 2 words, 4 syllables, 12 characters, great sweet spot, 31 TLDs for career advice. Great for a lead gen site for a recruiting, great for branding of, recruiters. That's a big industry. The jobs, recruiting, hiring, areas. And so I think it's a nice .org that you might be able to put in your portfolio for a good price. I'd try to get it for under, $200, $300, maybe even go under the radar if I didn't mention it for a .org. And I think it's a $5,000 domain name. I don't think it's like I don't know, maybe you guys have
career advice,
careeradvice.org. You think it's like a 15,000 or a 10,000 or a 5,000? What do you think?
Or you don't like it?
I'm gonna leave it where you.
Okay. So I think it's like a 5,000 tops domain name for careeradvice.org. And then what I don't like are really generic exact matches in .NET that don't have a clear business model, like engineers.net.
Okay.
Qatar.net.
Wait, that's Qatar.
Qatar. When I'm looking at .nets, and I don't own any .nets, I want to try and get a feeling or an adjective, maybe a noun like gravity.net or brilliant.net, bolt.net. If I'm going to invest in .nets, I want to buy something like that. That might be a startup domain name rather than an exact match where I'm not clear what it's going to be.
Yeah, no, I think that's an interesting point. And I think, but let's talk about Qatar.net. I mean, you've got the World Cup happening in Qatar. It's an entire country, right? And you've got, and it's one that's, obviously there's things happening there. It's not so obscure.
Yeah. So let me qualify.
Tell me the last time you saw a country.net sell for any price.
Yeah. And wrap that in with the fact that
sorry, my connection's not working.
They tend to go way too high on NameJet. The bids are way too high. It's almost like the sales price approaches the retail. And it's just, so that's why 100%. I say do not invest in those when you're looking at them on NameJet, because too many other investors are bidding way too high on them and you don't want to get caught into that.
That's really good feedback. And Mike, having you on here, I love it. First of all, you're geared up and ready to go. You're dropping all the data. Are you using the DNAcademy tools as your?
I am. I use them religiously, and your guy. I can't wait until they're out at GoDaddy because you guys are going to love these tools. And
and I think that you're not even giving me a chance to ask you the questions because you're just answering everything in your analysis. It's like, what do you think? What would you be cool to buy that for? And it's like you're already there. I love it.
$6,480.
But this is the type of analytical approach that people need to they got to be disciplined. I think that's a key piece of what you said. Because too many people will just.
Not everybody can be born with the instincts I've got. You know what I mean? You got to use the data.
That's 100% true.
I will say
you can either earn it over 10 years of experience, or you can look at the data and get some hints.
Yes. Yeah.
100%.
No, absolutely. Well, yeah, no, I mean, instinctually, Drew with his instincts, it's really crazy when we have these conversations. Plus, he's seen so many of these names buy and sell over the years that it's just and he remembers all this shit. Look at a name
and know that it gets type in traffic, right? How would anybody know that? But he's, been doing it so long, he just knows what gets traffic in his portfolio, and he can make an assessment or, a good guess on what's going to generate it.
So, hey, real quick though about the DNAcademy stuff. I mean, does it make sense for somebody to sign up now? Is that even possible to sign up now in advance of the switchover, and then that way you're already teed up and ready to go? Is there new pricing that's going to be rolled out later? Should people be signing up now?
No, if you want to sign up now, great. The discount domain club at GoDaddy. If you're not sure where it is, just go to Google, type in GoDaddy discount domain club. And you can sign up now, and then you can get .coms for $9.45 and a whole bunch of other TLDs. We're getting ready to. I probably shouldn't mention that. So yes.
We almost got him to drop some real alpha
program for discounted domains. And then when we roll out DomainAcademy, you'll get it as part of the benefits. So it won't be any extra charge. If you only want DomainAcademy, then just wait until December when we launch, and then you'll get an extra, 2 months of use time before you have to renew it.
Sure. And the
Do
domain
we get
discount
this
club.
Do we
Okay.
get that for free if we have over 500 domain discount? I don't know. I don't know if I pay for it or if
I don't know.
you have over
You know,
500.
that's pretty.
I'm pretty sure I've been paying that $5.99 or whatever it is I pay for a whole bunch of years.
Yeah, it gets pretty lost in my purchases. I just hit a lot of stuff at GoDaddy.
Yeah. Well, it pays for itself if you're going to buy X. I mean, I forget what the
100%.
Well, and it
like
depends
50
what
domains or 40 domains or something.
Or if you're comparing it to NetSol, and then it's like 5 domains. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Basically pays for
NetSol
itself.
pay you to
That's fine. No, I'm sorry that Billy. You know what? Nah, don't cut it out, Billy. We're not cutting anything out today. All right. Well, look, that's all really great feedback on the list, Mike. All right, cool. Well, let's keep it moving. Drew, what about you? You know, you can talk about maybe 3-4 domains since we gave Mike the liberties to go off.
Yeah. I also really like the next level. I also really like career advice. I think that one could actually even be worth more.
Okay. Because you made a comment. I wasn't sure if you were. I didn't know if you were.
I couldn't tell if you thought I was going too high or too low.
Exactly.
What do you think? Because I don't deal in .orgs at all. I just know it's a good one.
Yeah, there's this very, very, very narrow window of .org domain names where the left of the dot and the right of the dot are just a perfect match.
Yep.
And as you said, it insinuates a certain amount of trust that increases click-through rates and increases conversion rates. And so it makes for a really, really, really optimal target for both SEO and organic traffic marketing as well as paid marketing. It's a pretty big category. And you might be heading into a storm where there's going to be a whole bunch of people looking for some career advice. So I like that one. I think that's really, I would have a hard time letting that name go for less than 25. And I'd probably be asking more than that because it's going to be a big firm that's going to use that for content marketing and, or as just their, some SEO firm or some intermediary that's going to use it as the targeted, the funnel. So I like that one. I think that's a very good domain. I like Medical Center. I actually missed. Did you give your reason why you didn't like Medical Center, or you just said you didn't?
Yes, because I don't think it's a good investment for people that are listening to the show. Could I see Virginia Medical Center or San Francisco Medical Center using medicalcenter.com? Yeah, I could. But I think that because it's a generic phrase, because it gets a lot of search volume, because it's probably in a lot of TLDs, it's probably going to sell for a ton of money on NameJet. And that's going to reduce your return on investment.
All right. So I agree on that principle. On the principle of, is this going to be a good investment for, what are you going to pay versus what can you sell it for?
Yeah.
You're definitely going to have a tighter spread than on other names. But I do like the name. I think this name gets a pretty fair amount of type-in traffic. It has a lot of search. Private medical is becoming an increasingly larger and larger business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like it. It could also, again, be used as a lead gen tool. I like it.
So what do you think the retail value?
I would probably pin full retail value at the 150 range.
Wow.
100, 150. I'm going off of these Esteban stats, and they've become actually almost worthless in terms of the search data. So let me actually just check.
Yeah, let me go look it up on DNAcademy research snapshot.
No, it's actually in this case, it's actually low. So search volume's 200,000, CPC 350. This is a big name. This name really full market value is $300,000 to $500,000. I think that because of the generic nature of it, you're not going to get that much. But this is a very, very big name. Now, also interesting is the search data literally has gone parabolic in the last, I can't see exactly what period of time that is. I think it's a 5-year spread. That's probably in the last 2 years. The search data is going parabolic. So medicalcenter.com I'm a fan.
Yeah, you know what? I don't even know if I can share host disabled participant sharing, but the
very low click-through rate though, which is interesting.
The
very low click-through rate.
The research is massive on this one. The top for sale one is medicalcenter.live. It's here. Let me just.
I'm trying to figure out what he can't share, and now I'm interested.
I know. The search volume exact that Drew was talking about is 18,000, and then the broad is 271,000. There's a big CPC on this one. Not a lot of ads, but a big CPC.
Where are you pulling your keyword data from? Because I'm on Ahrefs right now.
Yeah,
and they're showing 197,000 for exact match search.
Yeah, my definition of exact match inside of the DNAcademy, DomainAcademy system is a different definition than what everybody else is using. Mine is close to the OG version that you and I used to talk about 10 years ago. So these are people actually typing in medical center and letting it go. I believe that data comes from.
I believe that's what Ahrefs is doing too.
They're using broad match.
Keyword ideas, terms match.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the data is becoming intermingled on all these new tools. So we get the exact match from Esteban, and it was locked in before Google started grouping all of their keywords together. Now you can't even get exact match data from anybody.
No.
So anyways, this one, it's a great domain name. It's and if I come up here, you can see all the companies that are in Crunchbase using Medical Center: Boston, University of Rochester, University Children's National, Hadassah, Jacobi. And so there's, if there's that many companies doing it, to your point, there's going to be a lot of individual startups doing it as well. And then we also pull in the what's for sale. These are individual investors, that are listing domain names. You can see .live is 58,000, .org is at 15,000.
It would also make a great brand for like something like Healthline,
totally.
Medicalcenter.com. It's like, this is the center where you get all your medical information, right? PubMed type of thing.
So not arguing that it's not a really strong domain name, but I think it's probably going to sell for, I don't know, 15,000, 20,000.
I think that's about right. I think probably 10 to 15, and it's probably a long hold.
Yep.
But it probably gets good traffic. It probably earns some revenue. It probably has a lot of third-party email coming in. I think I like it. It's a strong name across every category. All right, moving on. Here it is. I like APIC. I've got a whole bunch of these A something, like A BTC, A NFT, A PIC, I'm not going to tell you I've sold a lot of them. I remember I sold few.com. I sold few.com. I sold that way too cheap. But anyways, I sold few.com, and then I replaced it with afew.com. And it was like, few.com had a whole bunch of traffic. Few.com had a lot of inquiries. Afew.com, not so much. So
just a few.
Just a few.
Yeah,
just a few inquiries.
But just a few. But I don't know. APIC definitely also looks like it's got a little bit of traffic, registered in a bunch of TLDs. It's got a little search. Kind of a play on words for epic. Kind of a, I like it. I like it. And I just like 4 letters. I like it ends in C, even if you ignore the sort of meaning of it. API Corporation, it's just, I like these names that are really versatile. And this one is super versatile. Like, you could take it for a generic nature of like APIC as in a picture. You can look at it as just a really high quality 4letter.com that happens to also end in C, which is the highest correlation to resale. You can look at it the other way and go API plus the C, right? Yeah. So there's like 3-4 ways to slice this one. It's got decent search, got a little traffic on it. I like it.
So what do you like it at a retail price at? And then what would you buy it for, put in your portfolio for at wholesale?
Yeah. So, I mean, just generic, any random but really high quality 4letter.com, I'm generally willing to pay somewhere between the $800 and $1,200 range. This one, because of the versatility, because of all the things I mentioned, I'd probably pay $1,500, $1,700. I'd want to be probably under $2,000. I think you get to $2,000 and then,
I think this one's going to
things
sell.
start
This is
adding
going to
up,
be
right?
a 5-10K name though on NameJet for sure.
Yeah, it might. It probably. Yeah, things are starting to soften.
Orders.
Yeah.
And then what would you price it at?
Maybe I might pay $2,500 for it. And then I would be pricing it probably in the 35 to 50 range.
Yeah, and I think it probably sells pretty quickly in that, quickly all being relative, obviously with domain names you're talking it's, dog years, but I think it probably sells pretty quickly in that range when you're talking about trying to, if you're willing to put it up for 30 or something.
Yeah.
Or, between.
And, you do some due diligence on it either before you buy it or after you own it. And there maybe is a bang on perfect end user for it or 2 or 3. And if that's the case, maybe that value is even higher. Right. But I think just, in a vacuum, I'm pricing that thing at like $35,000 to $49,000. I'm trying to buy it for $2,500 or less. I'm talking myself into saying, well, maybe I'd pay a little more, but
exactly. Before you know it, he's like, all right, $15,000. That's it. I'm not paying a penny more. Well, this one's interesting too, because it's like, when they talk about 4character.coms and how CV, consonant, vowel, this is actually the opposite of that, the inverse. This is vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant. And I think
what the inverse of winning is?
I hear you, but I mean, I still think it's a good name, It's third place, the bronze medal. But I think it's because I remember when there was that big, the China bubble of domains and the 4 characters and everything, and they were breaking them down into, these are quards and all these different things. And, it was like, we didn't want, names with vowels and all that. But then you remove some of the pronounceable aspects away from 4 characters, which is why I think, kind of to your point before, this one's really, really strong. It's like, it's pronounceable. It could be an acronym possibly. Like you said, ends in C. There's a lot of cool stuff, I think, on that particular name. But let's keep it moving. Let's get. I'd like to get some feedback from Shane on the list, because unless you have any more that you
I don't
must
agree
talk
with
about
these guys at all. No, I'm just kidding. We all do. We all think the same way. We just do it differently. We all have the same approach to it. Some use tools, but we're all looking for the same thing. We're looking for the most possible users. Mm-hmm. We're looking for. We're not all looking for type-in traffic, but we all are kind of looking for the same metrics behind a name when it comes to purchasing. And I think I have a wheelhouse, of course, but I also understand the value of the next level. Like that, if you're going to use sometimes the works. Sometimes it makes it a better name. A doesn't. Like if somebody asked me by putting an A in front of it, no, but the it can. It absolutely can make it, because sometimes you just don't use the other 2 words on their own ever. So I think the next level is pretty good. I don't look at the appraisal at all. That doesn't. I guess I would look at it, but in general, I don't think that APIC is the most valuable name on this list by any means, and that's what we're kind of being shown. Back orders does tell you something. There's some back orders that get pushed through because they've been there before, so they get added on from the old ones. But in general, popularity has something to do with it. Auction, at least. If there's more people bidding, the more likely it is to go higher. If it's a higher quality name, then it can really get to a high price. I like Smart Meter. I think it's a pretty open product. I don't know that it's going to be a company, but it could be a heck of a product, because, like we said, it can meter a lot.
No, you got all these new health monitors, all these new health meters. Your glucose meter, your heart rate monitor, and those things could all be called, Smart Meter.
And there's not a better name in front of meter. If you're going to put meter,
exactly. You're talking about,
I can't think of one word.
You're talking about appliances. You're talking about home stuff. Business, industrial. Exactly.
I've had more jobs than your average bear, and one of my jobs, and the worst job I ever had, was actually being a electric meter reader, and I got bit by 2 dogs. I walked into a heroin den where all the people were laid out on the floor, like, because we had keys to some of these houses. So you knock, and if they don't answer, you open the door, you go read the meter, you leave. I came in, these people were all, whacked out, and they're all on the floor. There was like literally somebody is shit in the corner of the room. This was the craziest job, and it was in a really bad neighborhood because I was
this in your speech in Kensington Palace? Was this
Yes.
So when he finally left the place 4 hours later, it was like.
Anyways,
I totally forgot to read the meter.
It was just at that moment. Literally, it was during my 6-month stint as a meter reader that they introduced smart meters. Like I'm making, I don't know what they actually call it, but it probably is called a fucking smart meter.
Yeah.
Because now the trucks can actually just drive by your house and it automatically reads the meter instead of having a guy like me get bit by your dog.
Yeah. No, my father-in-law worked at Con
It was funny. These old ladies
doing some of that.
Yeah, these old ladies, man, they couldn't wait. They would literally be waiting for you with cookies and milk. Like, oh, you're here to read the meter? I got cookies.
You smell like heroin.
So they want you to come in the living room and sit down and hear about the grandkids and
they're just looking to interact. They want to.
All right, I changed my mind. I think smart meter is going to sell for like $4,000 to $5,000 on NameJet.
I think it's going to pop off after the show. To be honest,
it's
going to go for like 12K.
Shane just mentioned like a whole bunch. Drew and Shane, a whole bunch of other applications that I didn't even think of. Like this thing is massive. Yeah. Do your own research. It doesn't look like there's any active trademarks on it because it's so generic. It's a really good one.
Yeah,
it's coming up pretty
soon.
Soon.
It's a solid name.
A couple days left.
I like horticultural therapy in general, but it's just so long. I knew you put it on there just for me. It says C. Shane in parentheses right next to it.
Exactly. I think I need another column.
I would like it better if it was horticulture therapy instead of horticultural.
Yeah.
It could have been a 10-word domain. I was including it for Shane.
And honestly, in our industry, we put just the word hort. We'll put hort therapy, hort sales. We never spell the whole word out. We always put hort.
That's some insight right there.
Yeah, that's if anybody in the industry, they're not going to spell the whole word out.
I just envision Mr. Miyagi.
I can tell you. Yeah, I was going to say you put into your tool, put in lawn care and see how many people have a derivative of that word of that domain.
Yeah,
that's something like that. But I think instant learning, it's a great name and exudes. You're going to learn something quickly. When I go to that site, I feel like I don't know what I'm going to learn, but it's going to be in a course that makes it quick and easy for me to learn. So it's a great brand. And if it goes cheap, it's a great add to a portfolio, in my opinion. Grievances, the first thing I thought was Festivus. Like set up a Seinfeld Festivus, and that's where you air your grievances. That's a build out. But otherwise, Grievances is not a very positive name. The other one there was one in Qatar, timing. You're not going to time it much better. Qatar is going to be one of the hottest names in the world. There's 96 back orders, so you know that other people thinking of it. I'm not a net guy. We've talked about this. I call it the discount coupon code. When you get a .net, it's always about 80% less than everything else because it's a .net. But it's memorable. Like people don't confuse .net. That's the one thing. I used to ask my daughter if I gave her a .net, she generally remembered the site was a .net. It's memorable. It's just nobody uses it. Doesn't mean it's not memorable and not a potential to use, but it's just it's the stepsister. So
could be the next .horse.
.horse, baby. Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, all it takes is some company that people aspire to be to use it. That's why these other TLDs are getting used. Something we use on a daily basis as a .io or a .xyz. So you never know, but I wouldn't put my amount of money. And by the way, Bitcoin's up or Ethereum's up over 5% since we talked. So I'm literally making money as I talk in front of you.
That's all good.
And then medical center, I was with them. It's generic, but my gosh, if you're going to have a generic, I agree with you. You want to be in medicine, you want to be in healthcare, and you want to be in pain. Anything that has to do with dealing with pain or medical issues, I'm a big person. And I also agree with alternative energy. That's the other category that I love to have the word solar in front of it or energy. That's just too super things. We're trying to get cheap energy, and we're all dying and in pain. So that's where I want to be. I like APIC. That's a good tradable liquid name. It's going to go for 10 grand probably. It's just CVC or VCVC. It's just a 10 grand name at NameJet. That's just how it goes. It doesn't really matter what it is, honestly. So if you think you're going to get it for 3,000 or 4,000, it's not going to happen. It's just how it goes. I watch it every day. So that's going to go for 10 grand or more. And I'm not a buyer at that price. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, no, I think it's cool.
So you made a funny comment about lawn care, and so I actually wanted to just take a look. So that is a pretty shocking. It's got some pretty shocking stats. 24,555 domain names registered with the keyword lawn care, registered in 98 extensions. What do you think is the second most registered, keyword combo with lawn care?
Like the word that goes with lawn care.
Yeah. Prefix.
Grass, yard.
No, I'd say lawn care.
Green.
Heads and shoulders above any other keyword.
Huh.
All right, hold on. This is where we put it in the
I'm
notes.
trying to think of I'm trying to think. I see lawn care coming three, so I would think.
Are you saying it needs to be paired with care?
Yeah, no, lawn care. With
like
the word
with lawn
make it
care.
to make it a 3-word
Gotcha.
combination. I would say green. Green would be.
I'll say best.
Oh,
Green is number 4.
I feel like we're playing Family Feud right now. Ding, ding, ding. Like,
Ding, ding, ding.
How about best?
Best is number. It's way down. It's like number 12 or 15.
I don't think it would be. It wouldn't be the word free, right? I mean, that would be one that I think would be pretty.
No, total lawn care.
Yeah,
wow.
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Total lawn
That makes
care.
sense,
We've
yeah.
got 2 in our area. Yeah, we have to do call name and B. Yeah. Total lawn
And
care.
then lawn care services, and then green lawn care, then lawn care service, then lawn pro lawn care,
Okay.
superior lawn care.
Yeah, I mean,
there is a lot of domains registered.
23,000 registered with that in there.
Yeah.
Think about that. There can't be many.
24,500.
It's got to be a top 100 name. I mean, I would think, because if I think about services,
healthcare looks like. Oh, whoa! But then you go look at healthcare, and that's a different ball game.
It's just like freezes your computer.
135,000 domains registered, 306 extensions.
Yeah.
Data. I can't make jars without clay. Shout out to Sherlock Holmes. So I think we covered almost every name on the list. I think there's a couple in there that I thought were interesting. But grievances, and then volatant, which is I think it's the engaging or the practice of being in flight, is on that. Not all oneword.coms are created equal, right? When you have sort of an
Michael's about to get volatanting.com.
It's in the dictionary, isn't it?
It's in the dictionary.
Here's the
Volatanter.
thing. I'll offer you that. I'll offer you that for 3x what I end up paying for it on NameJet, Michael. And then that's coming.
JT missed the rule about if you have to explain it, you already lost.
No. I actually was making the point. Like, I think that is one of those, like, not all oneword.coms are created equal. If you have to get into where you're, unless it's a really kind of interesting sort of thing or very popular, amongst a certain set, niche, whatever. But a name like that could maybe kind of be, something with flying or something for like a brand, I think could be interesting. But again, not all one words are created equal. Freshclothes.com was another one that's on the list. And then
I like that one as a brand. But it's one thing. And
what about Control Alt Delete? All like the
I had to look that one up. Does Control Alt Delete still work? And that's from like our heydays when we had
that's not on the list. I do. Yeah, now I see it. To mine, it looked like with my.
I kind of want that just for nostalgia.
I could totally see you buying that one just for nostalgia and never selling it.
Well, never selling it or never using it also. But all right, well, that's the list. And I think we did a good job. Kind of there's not a lot of meat left on the bone now. So good stuff, everybody. All right, so let's slide into grand closing. We're pushing up on the last 5 minutes or so here. I know we covered a lot of ground as we went through the show, talking about what's going on with DNAcademy and GoDaddy, DomainAcademy. But Michael, any sort of final kind of thoughts, points, things that we haven't talked about before we close out here?
Yeah, I've got a new newsletter out. It's called Cyger Says.
Cyger
and
Says.
It's basically just my Twitter tweets that I will put into a newsletter once a week, and then I'll add a little bit more context because it's hard to like have a intelligent discussion on Twitter in 280 characters, even if you do string it all together. So I'll usually have like an idea of something. I'll post it to Twitter. Sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't. But then I either get feedback from people like via poll or I found out that Zoho.com offers free email hosting for your domain names, free, 100%. I didn't even know it existed. And so, I share back nuggets that I pick up in my threads, and then if you don't how Twitter is, like if you don't sign on for a couple of days, you don't get to see what Shane posted or Drew.
I had no idea what Shane paid for Encrypto.com.
And so I picked my 5 favorite tweets and I put it back out. So go to cygersays.com. Shout out to Steven Sachs, who's like, hey Mike, you should buy cygersays.com.
So is it Cyger SAYS or CEY?
Cyger CYGER says SAYS.com.
Yo, shout out Stevie Sachs for real. That dude has infinite wisdom.
Love that guy.
He has infinite wisdom, like on levels that people can't even comprehend, because you got to like just stop for a second and really listen, and you're like, oh damn, like
Well, he's a great guy, but
he's just one of the best.
We'll put the Cyger Says
straight up
piece.
One of the best human beings that I know.
Yeah. So real quick, Mike, we'll put that in the notes on the thing, and so people can find that to get to your newsletter. But yeah, Steve Sachs is that dude, man. I mean, nothing but love, man. And he's he's a smart, savvy dude, and he's one of those guys. Anytime you see him at these events, like he's one of those guys. Like, look, it was great seeing a lot of people at NamesCon, but he's definitely one of those like top 10% people that you see, and you're like, man, it's been too long,
And you got to go to the conferences in person to see people like Steven. And
not me. He's in Indianapolis down the road. We flew home together from a conference, and I will say this. Behind every great man is a great woman. His wife is he is who he is because of her, because she's super kind. She takes care of him. They're a totally loving couple. When I saw that, you see him, he looks like an old rock star, right? Like
he does. Yeah.
He looks looks like he's seen some things, he's just kind of calm.
And he sure has.
He definitely has.
And he looks it, but then you see his wife, and she is just the most charming, regular person, beautiful woman. Just you see it, and you can see that couple. And I say that you can see them together, and you can see why he is who he is, because he has that as a solid base behind him. So he's done all those crazy things, learned all those things, but he's going home to a solid base, and you could see it just for the 5 minutes I saw her picking him up. So I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, he's somebody that if you get time with, definitely take advantage of it.
100%. Okay, and so I have one other question for Drew and you, JT. RallyRd. Years ago, you've been trying to fractionalize domain names through, via MediaOptions. You told me about it years ago. You got it done. You put up a handful of domain names at RallyRd. I don't get enough time with you guys because of the time change and everything. We don't get to chat enough. I went on to RallyRd. I bought into the first domain name as a fractional owner. It was $10 per share for directions.com, $140,000 valuation. Clearly high wholesale, definitely not retail. I went in today. I think my share price has decreased to like $4 or something. What's going on with RallyRd?
Is that true? Because I don't think it has actually traded on the secondary market.
I think it's trading.
Is it?
So now it's $3.70 a share.
Let me log in.
All right.
I wasn't aware that one was actually trading yet on the secondary.
Hotspot.com.
Hotspot was
$195,000 offering, $10 a share. Now it's trading at $5.90. So what I wanted to get an update from you guys on what we're thinking about fractional ownership now. How did RallyRd perform? Like, what are your thoughts?
All right. So I would say my views have not changed at all. In fact, I would say, the initial experience of those first two names, and then kind of the learnings from that, and what we intended to do net, I think there was a very clear path of success. I think that this is the future. I still believe that this is one of the key ways to expand the market. I know some of the smartest people in the world are doing this in music. They're doing it in other asset classes.
Totally.
And so anyways, so my thesis remains intact with, I would say the only observation that I would make is I think that the future of this needs to be baskets of domains so that, I think there is a place for like individual names where people can say, oh, I really like that name and I want to be, but I think that baskets of names with themes like 3letter.com basket, 4letter.com, very large basket, let's say 1,000 names, 4letter.coms, 10, 20, 30, 3letter.coms. And that way your probability of incremental success is higher. And, basically the portfolio is paying back dividends and decreasing your principal in the overall portfolio. So I think that baskets of names is probably the best path forward. Now, where we are is that the SEC had come back, and I'm not really sure what I can say and not, but basically there was some they wanted more clarity around.
Yeah, let's just there's still pieces that are taking.
It's just about valuation. It's like whatever. Basically, the question everybody has is like, well, right. How do I know if this is a good value or a bad value? How do I know how to value this? And as I have very verbally said for a very long time, I don't think that comps and Andrew Miller has shared the same view. I don't think comps is a very good metric unless you're comparing things that have the same, which is going to be very difficult to find, but the same amount of exact match search, the same CPCs in the same vertical with the same sort of buyer profile, with the same domain length, and to check those boxes, you can't do that very often. So right. I don't think comps is a great way to measure value. I think that, this metrics driven approach that, I've sort of pounded the sand on for a decade plus now is, the best way to go about it, but it's hard to convey and hard for your, an average investor to basically, let's say, adopt and utilize. And so, I think that there is, I think we actually cleared the air on that. And I think now we're just looking at a market downturn. I think, they've slowed the roll a little bit on, this is just observational, but on new IPOs on RallyRd. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to develop more market liquidity in the secondary market, which is, basically good for all current investors, but not good for my, ambition of consistently rolling out new names to go public on the platform, getting more diversity of names, experimenting with different categories, seeing what works, what doesn't, getting more investor feedback, et cetera. So, overall, still very positive, thesis intact, but it is definitely rolling much slower than I had hoped and I would like.
Yep. And just to kind of append to that, and what Drew meant was pounding the table, not pounding the sand. But the
well, I've kind of been doing both because nobody cared.
But I think, to Drew's point, and without disclosing too much of the internal stuff, I mean, definitely slowing down the amount of, IPOs on the platform. Obviously, when everything was extremely exuberant across all, sort of any kind of risk-based assets and all the collectible stuff, everything was kind of going crazy. But I think what will be really important is, when you start to see some exits, right? When there becomes the sort of benefit that people will see and recognize that there's value then in investing in, because until we have that use case that shows like, okay, and that's why the baskets is important, right? You have a basket of 3letter.coms and you sell one for what the initial overall investment of the entire basket was. And then all the investors get the benefit of that and realize, oh, wow, this is really cool. There's a real opportunity here. then they'll realize, because otherwise it just, we're dealing off
I've
of just
exited all my cars. Literally, both my cars that I bought, my Ferraris sold for, and I've at least double on both of them.
Right,
I'm 100% on RallyRd.
And that's exactly, and that's what I mean. And that's what needs to be seen now on the domain side, right? Because we've shown that there's enough interest that people will invest when they IPO. Right now, they need to see the success happen on the other side, on the exit side, so they recognize, okay, cool, this is how this is supposed to work. And then what that'll do is that will prop up the secondary market in the meantime, so that people will recognize.
But that's opportunity. So that's the opportunity. So if you want to go to RallyRd right now and make an offer on that, people are accepting it. I put super low ball offers on the Bored Ape that's up there, 2 Bored Apes, and the domain names. I put an offer and they took it. They took like 4, I think on directions, it was like 470.
Yeah.
Somebody took it. It took a while.
For shares.
And here's the thing, like I'm looking at that, like, how do I buy all of directions.com and just take it off the market? If it's so depressed right now, $50,000 for directions.com, I'm all over it.
I didn't even realize directions was actually trading in the secondary yet. And so that's pretty interesting. I mean, that's
not financial advice, not financial advice. Hey, but I think
literally you go out and you say, all right, what I want to buy directions.com.
Shuts off the feed. But I think the other thing too is like, this goes back to what we've said about the market in general, is that, when now things have cooled off so much, what this is ultimately going to do, and I'm not saying that this is that instance, but across a lot of different digital assets and other assets in general in this, bear market, it's going to create opportunities to make money. Money's made in the bear, right? It's not, made in the bull necessarily. It's the same thing of like for a domain when domain deal, you're going to make your money on the buy, not necessarily on the sell. And obviously everything, there's unique aspects to a lot of different pieces, but, and this is sort of a similar situation. But once you see that success take place again on the name on the other side of it, and people recognize like, oh, this is where, kind of like Shane saw with the cars, because now he's like, okay, cool. He's going to be, and as he is, he's in there now looking for opportunities for the next one so that he can get.
People need liquidity.
Exit,
and that's it. Be their exit liquidity in the bear market. That's
100%.
Let's go.
100%. And that's what I like about RallyRd, man. You just put that bid, set it, and forget it.
Yeah.
I've had bids on Hotspot for months, and it's like every once in a while, at least once a week, get that email. Somebody took your bid, and it's like, I'll take all your shares at
at a certain price. I mean, that's
I look at Hotspot for 115. I look at directions for 51, and I don't know. In the universe I live in, I'm like, I'm a buyer. That's
Yeah. No, I think that's a good point and good question, Mike. So, did you have anything else?
No, that was it. I just wanted to get an update because this is groundbreaking. You guys are setting a path, and it's hard to do. And I commend you guys for pushing it. And just wanted to get an update. So thanks for that.
Yeah, well, I just carried Drew's, his suitcase. He's the one who's the out there doing the work. So I just
Cyger was actually one of the first people to even know I was trying to get this done. I mean, probably a year or two before we even actually got it done.
No, it's exciting stuff, and there's still a lot more.
Speaking of which, I just bought 75 shares of Hotspot.
This is not financial advice.
Yeah, NFA, not financial. Do like a big neon sign thing that's going to pop up various points during the show. All right, dope. Well, Drew, anything else on your end as far as I know? We talked about your recent talk and other things.
Let me be your exit liquidity. We're gonna come up with a new song called "Let Me Be Your Exit Liquidity."
It's gonna be like an R&B joint, like, "Hey baby, let me be your exit liquidity."
Let me be your exit liquidity.
The only time I'm gonna exit you
when you feeling down and out.
Let me be your exit liquidity, baby.
Like ain't no tomorrow. Just pick up the phone and hear me out. I got that exit liquidity, baby.
Exit liquidity, baby. Liquidity, baby. All right, Shane, what about you, man? You got some spicy honey?
Definitely. If you want it regular, go to my Twitter account. It's pretty much shit posting.
You are the king lately.
Yeah. No, I have a great time. I mean, it's I'm I'm having a great year. Like the bear market's been good. Wolf game's been good to me. I've been dripping like $500 a day in wool and just spending it recklessly. It's been a great time. I mean,
Shane's living his best life, man. He's in the gym. He's like, you got the resurgence of Shane happening right now, man.
My wrinkles are barely coming through this thing.
Yeah, you got the good filter on right now.
Yeah, I don't have any filter. This is legit. This is a real muscle.
Wow, damn, you got a fedora.
Yeah, look at this. He's still there. That gym.
Damn. Oh, look at that.
Look at them guns.
Oh,
that's why
take it to the gun show.
We had to use the restroom early. I'm like, I got like AG1 in my system, a creatine shake, 2 coffees, and a Diet Coke. Like that's why we had to take that cut earlier. That's how it goes. But no, I mean everything's great. But that's what we're all doing here, right? Setting a base up for a good life, like working hard, creating companies, surrounding ourselves with good people, so that we can live our best life. And that's what I'm doing. Like I worked hard at that nursery, 27 years of 80-hour weeks, writing DSAD every morning for 10 years, religiously in NFT space, talking with you guys, putting our money where our mouth is. Look what you can see. Like,
oh man,
it's all good.
Outwork the smart, outsmart the dumb, man. And
that's why I'm smiling. Sure. Like that and an Invisalign. That's the reason I'm smiling all the time. So, I'm having a good time, and all is good. Empty nester. That's the other thing. I see all these people you guys raising your kids all that time. Gone. Like I get to talk to her at night and just go to the gym instead of going to soccer practice. So
yeah, no doubt.
That's all good.
No doubt.
No,
well, good for
always
you.
Great to have Mike on here, though. That's it's worth a 2 or 3 hour podcast when he's on.
Oh yeah.
This was a marathon. This was like, this was Godfather.
This was a long game.
But it was absolutely worth it. And Mike, kind of to echo that, because I think that's a great segue to roll us out of here. Thank you so much, man, for taking the time. Having you back on here is awesome. I love you take some of the heat off of me. You're like asking some of the questions in the
I can't help it. Sorry, man.
Sherpa. No, I love it, man. It's all good. I'm like, I even said ahead of time, I'm telling Billy, I'm like, Cyger's coming on. I'm going to chill. I get to sit back a little bit and like let dude just work. And, I love it, man. Super excited to have you here. Looking super forward to the next one. And, but Drew, Shane, you guys, you know what it is. Thank you so much for taking the time. To the audience, like I say in every show, thank you all for tuning in. Without you, there's no us. Maybe break this one up into sections or listen to it on double speed or something to get through it, in the normal allotted time. But thanks for tuning in. We appreciate y'all. Hit us up. We're not hard to find. Otherwise, we'll catch everybody next time here on Domain Sherpa, where all roads lead to domains. Thanks, everybody, and peace out. Y'all have a good one.